Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2026. Yeah, can you smell it? Yeah, can you see it? Can you hear it? The subterfuge, the propaganda, the gaslighting, the lies. Oh, my gosh. You won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome to the Thursday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist. WTF with the facts. And if those facts make you exclaim WTF, well, then so be it. And this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. You regular listeners know that I've been talking about this for quite some time, and there's a good reason. You know, Tesla said frequency is everything, and Royal Raymond Rife ran with that philosophy and discovered that frequencies can do all kinds of amazing things for you. They can destroy bugaboos and bacteria and viruses in your body, and they can also help your cells thrive and proliferate, depending upon the frequencies. Anyway, a woman by the name of Linda Banber figured out how to take these frequencies and shrink them down into a little wristwatch that you wear. And as a matter of fact, I'm wearing mine right now. Let me see if you can hear this. I'm going to turn the volume up here a little bit, see if you can hear this. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Can you hear that? Yeah, I'm wearing my Wave Watch, and I'm running a cognitive program right now to keep my brain sharp. But there's all kinds of other programs in there for all kinds of issues that you might have, and I'm not here to tell you it's going to, treat or cure or anything like that, but it's definitely a help, and the people I've loaned it to regret having to give it back to me. So anyway, if you'd like to find out more about the Wave Watch, and if you'd like to purchase it, you'll save $100 when you use the promo code that we give you at our website. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and the pop-up window will take you right to an area where you can read all about it. Check out the Wave Watch, folks, and help to support this broadcast by picking one up for you and your spouse or your significant other or whatever. Anyway, that said, man, we got a whole lot of stuff that we're going to have to get through in the next coming weeks and months. This whole thing with this war. Keep in mind, yes, we are dealing with war right now. We are at war with Iran. We are, at war with, this country's been at war for over 90% of its existence. We're celebrating 250 years of the United States of America. And there's only, I think it's 22 years that we were actually at peace. So we have to stop and look in the mirror as Americans and figure out what the heck are we doing? Why are we doing it? And who's pulling the strings behind the scene? Anyway, I'm going to spend a little time going down memory lane today. But before I do, there's a couple of things that I needed to bring to your attention. I just mentioned that we are at war. And I played this clip in the past. Charlie Kirk tried to warn us. And I think this is one of the reasons why he's no longer with us, because he had come to realize certain things that shall we say, we all have belief systems. And sometimes when we're presented with information that challenges our beliefs, we have a decision to make. We either dig our heels in and condemn the new information, ignore it, and go after the people that supply that information, or we stop and reflect and get introspective and say to ourselves, maybe I was wrong about something. Maybe I need to adjust my beliefs. And I think that's exactly what happened with Charlie in the year before his demise. He had actually, you regular listeners know, and anybody who has been paying attention to the Charlie Kirk situation, we all know that Charlie had turned. Yes, he was no longer supportive of Israel. And because of that, he was being labeled as an anti-Semite, etc., etc. Yeah, okay, well, we all know about that argument. So, and he also was challenging this hostility towards Iran. Now, again, I remind you, Iran hasn't attacked another country in as far as we can remember, longer than than our country's been in existence. Now, we may not agree with their policies, et cetera, but they certainly are not the aggressors. Now, some people will say, oh, well, they've been, doing proxy wars with, terrorist groups and everything. Whoa, wait a second. Get a little bit more specific about that. Because I think that there's another country in the Middle East that has been doing nothing but supporting terrorism, et cetera, et cetera. As a matter of fact, it's come out now, it actually came out some time ago, that Hamas was being funded by Israel to the tune of $35 million a month. That's right. Yeah, the money was going through Qatar and then back to Hamas to keep this conflict going. And we all know about Al-Qaeda, and we know about the Taliban, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is how these conflicts in the Middle East have been continuing for decades and decades and decades. Yeah. So anyway, here's Charlie Kirk. I played this the other day. It's worth repeating. Here's Charlie on his opinion about war with Iran.
I don't think we should bomb Iranian nuclear facilities. I just don't. I think it would be a huge mistake. It's an act of war against a major country. You go to war with Persia, it will bring your country down. The American people did not rise up in major numbers because we want war with Iran. That was never part of the deal, okay? It was never like, hey, America first, we're going to go do a bunch of, targeted strikes on the inland of Iran. So that's just where I would say that would be a catastrophic mistake. I'm resolutely America first. I think that our own borders matter a lot more than the borders of a foreign country. And I think it's a long past time that our leaders would start to prioritize the well-being of our own citizens, not those of foreign nations. Not that crazy of a concept, right? We have so many pressing problems at home, and our leaders are internationally obsessed, and they are domestically ignorant.
Yes, they are. And why do you suppose they continually push for war? Okay, here's a tune. I had fun doing this one. I sort of listened to Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love. Remember that one? Well, I changed the chords and the words around a little bit so I wouldn't get in trouble. But I think that this tells a story that we already know.
You're making bucks when people die. You're preaching peace, but we know that you lie. You're sending troops way on over there. Their lives destroyed, but you don't even care. Your every deed is based on greed. Your country cries, but you won't heed. Your bank account is your one concern. How much you make, how much you earn, yeah. Sitting on a fortune, but you're lasting for more, oh yeah. Sending all our military off to foreign shores. I guess you're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to war. There's Brown and Root, the Carlisle Group, and Halliburton's in the loop. There's NBC owned by GE, the press controlled. It isn't free, no. You think we don't know 'cause we're distracted and poor, but oh no. We're closer to the truth and now it can't be ignored. And now the whole world recognizes you're addicted to war. You're a death merchant junkie, you're addicted to war. And the whole world recognizes you're addicted to war. You're a cancer to the world, you're addicted to war. Yes, you're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to war. Yes, you're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to war. Right! Yes, you're committed to your cause. You break the rules and ignore all the laws. A war on freedom, so you say, but then you take our rights away. You think that you have us deceived, yeah. You celebrate while so many others grieve. You think that we don't see your
Yeah. You're a death merchant junkie. You're addicted to war. Yeah. I mean, what's changed? What has changed? Yeah, that song, put that together about 20 years ago. And, it still stands today. And by the way, I want to remind you, yesterday, yes, our representatives, our congressional representatives, our Senate and our Congress, they demonstrated once again that they are not your representatives. They are representing interests that are not yours. As a matter of fact, there was a poll, I mentioned it yesterday. I saw it on TV. I think it was on, was it on CBS or I forget where it was. But a recent poll shows that 56% of Americans do not support Israel anymore. That's the first time that the majority of Americans have, shall we say, Israel has fallen from grace in the eyes of a majority of Americans. Only 44% of the Americans support Israel anymore. And, they voted, get this, they voted to send more bombs and bulldozers over to Israel so that they can continue their efforts to ethnically cleanse South Lebanon. Yeah, videos are coming in from all over the place now. They are destroying hospitals and schools and bridges, and they're doing the same thing in southern Lebanon that they've been doing in Gaza for the past 2.5 years. And America doesn't like it. But you know what? Your representatives don't give a flying rat's patoot about what you think. They don't represent you anymore. And I want to remind you that I'm going to read from the United States unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, otherwise known as the Declaration of Independence. And it says here, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Go back and read the Declaration of Independence. Read all the grievances that Thomas Jefferson enumerated, the problems that they were having with the King of England. And then, as you read that, as a matter of fact, you know, what a great thing it would be if on Independence Day, people were to actually read the Declaration of Independence. Because if you read them, and you read the grievances that Thomas Jefferson enumerated, we might all collectively tip our head to one side and go, yeah. Anyway, I just mentioned that, our representatives just voted to send more bombs and bulldozers over to Israel. And you know what? Bernie Sanders, I gotta give him kudos, you know, and I do want to remind you that he's a Jew. Yeah. There are Jews out there that are condemning Israel. And of course, those Jews are anti-Semites. Yeah, we all know that, right? Here's Bernie Sanders on this particular topic.
Support for Israel in this country has plummeted. Today, according to a recent Pew poll, 80% of Democrats now have an unfavorable opinion of Israel, and 41% of Republicans share that view. And the numbers in all parties among young people are even higher. Young people, whether they are young Democrats, progressives, conservatives, do not want us to continue to fund more military aid to Israel. Mr. President, the time is long overdue for members of the U.S. Senate to start listening to the American people and not to AIPAC.
Wow. Bam! That's a slap in the face. Bernie Sanders saying that. So when, oh dear Lord in heaven, when will the American people rediscover their testicular fortitude and start standing up? We fought a revolution over a 3% tax on tea. And yet now, half of your labor every year gets taxed away, and you don't have a word to say about how it gets spent. Yeah, I mean, let that settle in. Where is the American spirit? We love to sing along with Lee Greenwood. I'm proud to be an American, where I get to think I'm free. And I've all but forgotten the men who died, who gave that right to me. They don't even know what the words are. They don't know what they're saying. Anyway, I don't know. I'm on a rant today, and that's why I'm going through this whole, I'm going down memory lane and remembering, all of this stuff that I heard all these years ago. I mean, okay, for example, the chemtrail issue. Now it's starting to get some legs on it. Okay, let's see. I'll go to the phones. Yeah, the phone number here, by the way, is 215-867-8255. And there's my sweetheart. Hello, Cynthia. How you doing?
Hi.
Howdy.
Well, you are today.
What's that?
And you are on a rant, and I want to remind you of some of your previous rants, which all together. You don't have to look much further than Major General Smedley Butler, who said that all wars are bankers' wars.
That's right.
And then you tie into Henry Ford, who wrote the book, The International Jew.
Yeah, which was banned.
And then you have to look at the Talmud that you have spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
And that all of these major wars are to kill Christian men.
Or emasculate them.
To deplete us of the leadership that we need
to
make our borders. And look at how they've perverted the Constitution by hiding the ratification debates. The debates that were held where the counties came at the state level in the 1790s and debated this new Constitution. And the only drafting that was allowed was drafting into the militia, and the militia could not be taken across international borders. So in 1909, Congress unconstitutionally passed the National Guard Act, which was to do a workaround around this understanding they couldn't take the militia across the international borders. They call it the National Guard, and instead they're supposed to be funding your local militias.
Right.
You right to go demand the oath of office be respected. The Constitution only permits drafting into the militia, and say that we want those federal draft offices converted into county draft offices for our militia. And you have to stand on the oath of office and what are called petitions, First Amendment petitions, where you explain to them what the Constitution means and what it says, and discuss the ratification debates and how this was not permitted. They were not going to permit their sons to be drafted into a military to support the king. But that has happened.
Yep.
We have a military. They're trying to do this again, and they're trying to grab your daughters too.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about people being of that age group being automatically listed and brought into a a pool of folks that can be drafted. You're right. They want to put together, because a lot of people are, they don't want to go sign up and go fight these stupid ass wars. They just don't want to do it. And so, the recruitments, they were way down under Biden. And then when Trump got back in there, recruitments went up. But now with what we're seeing in Israel and Iran, a lot of people are saying, no, I don't want to serve. No, there's a lot of people out there, military people, saying, don't serve. Don't do it. Don't follow, if you're in the military, don't follow the illegal orders, or shall I say the unlawful orders. Big difference. A lawful order and a legal order are two different animals.
So the way Israel's military is acting, they're going to bring Armageddon on. They're going to bring an invasion by maybe Turkey, right, which is now threatening that, you attacked Lebanon. We consider that an attack on us.
Yeah, well, China said the same thing. China said the same thing. If you start bombing these other countries, we're going to bomb you. You know, I mean, Israel is got the crosshairs are on Israel right now, when well they should be.
You know, the international bankers are all over the world.
Oh yeah,
and if they to complete their control, if they had to throw both America and Israel under the bus to be able to achieve that, they would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying now. They're trying to put our boots on the ground, and Trump appears to be aiding and abetting the enemy. I hate to say it. I hate to say this, but that's what it appears to be. And we need to pull the rug out from underneath that effort. And one of the keys is that you want our boys and girls not to be ordered out of our country, which under the original Constitution they could not do. You know, what they've been doing is they expend all this money, all these resources, and then they add it to the national debt. That was collected for IRS is being sent out of the country through a corporation in Puerto Rico, is what I understand.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. Yeah, the IRS's headquarters is in Puerto Rico.
Trump has not stood up to the unconstitutional IRS. He's changed things. Well, oh, great. Well, that's window dressing. He hasn't stopped it. And the fact is that armed federal thugs can come after you if you don't pay tribute to the king.
Right.
Whatever they call that king. At this point, it's the IRS. But unless there's more going on under the covers here that I don't know about, and I try to keep my ears, you know, to what is happening. And you're one of the best sources on the IRS issue.
Well, thank you.
That it has never been constitutional, and that it was proven in court that they couldn't lawfully collect from us.
Well, you know, there was a 2-volume book that was written, about 30 years ago. It was called The Law That Never Was, and it was co-authored by Red Beckman and Bill Benson. And basically what they had done, they did the research. They went into all of the state capitol buildings in the contiguous United States of 1913, and they pulled up all the voting records for the ratification of the 16th Amendment. And they found overwhelmingly that the ratification did not occur, and that many of the states had voted against ratification of the 16th Amendment. However, when the paperwork was transferred from whatever state to Washington, they had flipped it, just like they flipped the votes from Trump to Biden back in the 2020 election. So it was fraudulently ratified. Yes, we understand that. So anyway,
is that book available on Amazon?
I'm sorry?
Is that book available on Amazon?
I don't know. You'll have to find it. Look for The Law That Never Was by Bill Benson and Red Beckman. So I know, because I had the copy. It was a 2-volume set. And I don't know what happened to it. Well, yeah, I kind of know what happened to it. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, yeah, it's a 2-volume set, and it's called The Law That Never Was. So, yeah, there's your homework.
You know, there's records of the FBI buying up all the copies of certain books and destroying them.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway.
That's what. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for participating and contributing to the broadcast today, Cynthia.
Wait, when they go to their county supervisors to address the issue that the draft boards should be only for the county militia and state militia, take some veterans with you and have them explain that the oath of office means that you defend that Constitution, not the president. You don't defend the president. You don't defend the county supervisors. You defend the Constitution. Correct.
Okay. All right, my dear. Thank you so much. As always, so I appreciate your participation. You have a lovely day.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, all right, let's see. Let me see. Okay, as far as the Epstein saga is concerned, yes, a lot of people are calling this the Epstein War, and I would tend to agree with them, you know. This whole thing about the Epstein files And, of course, there's the Hunter Biden laptop, and there's the Anthony Weiner laptop. And I have no doubt that copies of those laptops, complete copies, have been distributed all over the world. Yeah, there's other countries that have copies of that, and we, as Americans, can't get access to them. But guess what? Russia's got it. China's got it. God knows how many other countries have got it. But as a matter of fact, there was an interview. Let me see. The podcast is called The Cradle, I believe it is. And there was a young woman who was interviewing a Chinese lawyer by the name of Victor Gao. And she asked a very interesting question, and his response was just as interesting. Here, listen to this.
And allow me to make one point. I think it is right now the high time to expunge the evil as represented by Jeffrey Epstein and whoever who is with him. Now, this is a very important point. I do not want to go into further details. I think the evil as represented by Jeffrey Epstein need to be fully expunged
or exposed
in the world, including in the relations between Israel and the United States.
Okay, listen to her follow-up question here.
Does China have the files?
Simple question.
Well, eventually everything needs to come out to the sun. Let's wait.
Let's wait.
Okay. I like that kind of strategic ambiguity.
So that it leads me to believe that China has the Epstein files. And I'm not talking about the 3 million pages that were released to us. Of course, that only represents, 10%? They said is 30 million pages or something, terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data and videos. Yeah, lots of videos, photographs, records, all that stuff. And it's sad to think that we, as the American people, can't see that stuff, and yet the rest of the world, including our quote-unquote adversaries, they have it. Maybe it's being used as leverage. Maybe it's being used to, shall we say, manipulate other people. And, of course, Israel has them. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's see. It's 34 minutes past the hour. Whatever hour you're sitting in, it's time to take a quick break.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get More Tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page. It'll take you to an area where you can click on Get More Tank. Get all the specifications and details on how and why this fuel catalyst works so well, and it can work really well in your vehicle too. It'll make your fuel burn cleaner, which is good for the environment, more efficiently, and you get more power. But the moneymaker is that after you've run a few tanks of fuel through your vehicle, you will start to see improved mileage, anywhere between 15 and 20%, depending upon your make, model, and year of vehicle, and, of course, your driving habits. So what does that mean? That means your $20 purchase is what it costs when you use the promo code. You get 5 tablets. If you're getting 20% better mileage, that means your 5th tank is free. Do the math. This is a no-brainer, folks. If you haven't tried Get More Tank, and if you're not using it, I don't know. What's the matter, you? You got to try this stuff. It really does work. I've been using it for 2 years, and my little Toyota Highlander runs like a top, and I get better mileage. And you know what? Your vehicle can too. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and Get More Tank. All right, let's see. It's 37 minutes past the hour, and I'm going down memory lane here. About 20 years ago, when I was doing the Power Hour, we produced a documentary film called One Nation Under Siege. You can find it on BitChute, I believe. If not, it's on Rumble. But you do a search on One Nation Under Siege. And there were many different individuals who we interviewed for that particular documentary film. And the reason I wanted to pull that up is because this issue about the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy has come to the surface once again because many researchers, Nick Fulcher, Naomi Wolf, Peter Yearden, the list goes on and on and on of all these very well-connected physicians and researchers have been pointing out that, yes, this hokey-pokey thingy-dingy filled with graphene oxide, lipid particles, and mRNA technology is destroying humanity. What was it? The researcher, what was his name? Ernst Burkholdt found that those lipid particles, those spike proteins, were replacing the sperm in testes of males who got the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy, which means that if they are with their partner, they're transferring those lipid particles into their partner. And as a result, they're becoming sterile as well. They're not having kids anymore. But then again, that's the point. They have to lower the world population and destroy them in any way that they can. That's the goal, is to lower the global population by over 90%. That's their long-term goal. But anyway, as far as the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy is concerned, this has been a plan that's been in place for many, many, many years. And it goes all the way back to the 1980s under the Reagan administration when there was a program called Rex 84 when they were cutting back on military expenditures and closing down the bases. Anyway, here's a topic that I covered all those years ago.
In the 80s, during the Reagan administration, there was a project called Rex 84 that was released. And in this project, or this plan, they called for all the bases that were being closed down from the budget cuts, the military budget cuts. These bases closed down. However, when you go back to some of these bases today and take a look at them, there's a very interesting thing that's occurred. The military bases used to have fences with barbed wire that faced out to keep people from the outside from getting into a secure area. Now a lot of these bases that have been closed down has the barbed wire facing in, as if to keep people from the inside from getting out. Now, why would this occur? Is it possible that there is or was a long-term plan that would eventually anticipate rounding up large numbers of people to withhold them? Now, we apply this into a scenario today. We know that we've got these terrible terrorists all over the world that want to do us harm. Mm-hmm. And we know that there's the threat of chemical and biological attack. Mm-hmm. In the event that there was a biological attack, or maybe an outbreak.
A what?
Of a virus.
A what?
Or a flu.
A what?
And the powers that be had a plan for mandatory vaccinations for everybody. Undoubtedly, there would be a lot of people, myself included, that would refuse to take a mandatory vaccine.
Wow, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Is it possible that they've anticipated this and are going to want to round up all the people that refuse to comply and hold them in detention centers for their own good? Is it possible that this whole plan has been in place for decades?
Okay, and that was 2 decades ago that I made that report. So this has been a long-term goal for a couple generations now. And as I mentioned just before I played that clip, many researchers now are coming forward, and basically they've got the data now, and they know this is not a guess, this is not a conspiracy theory anymore. They know that Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, all the people who were directly involved, they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. Why do you suppose Pfizer was trying to hide all those files for 75 years? Have you seen the list of all the adverse reactions that people have been having? Pages and pages of bad things that happen to people that got the hokey pokey thingy dingy. Here's Nick Holcher, basically discussing the, shall we say, negative outcomes, bad outcomes from the hokey pokey thingy dingy.
The COVID shots increase your risk of 7 major cancers.
Really?
Bladder, breast, colorectal, thyroid, gastric cancer. There was 8.7 million people in both of these studies, and they compared vaccinated to unvaccinated. So the vaccinated are getting more cancers. We have all the case reports published. People get these shots, and then a day later, sometimes a week later, they get massive tumors, or the cancer starts to spread everywhere in the body. CDC Wonder data, official government data, shows that excess cancer deaths have shot straight up right after the mass vaccination campaigns. There's been hundreds of thousands, or over 100,000 excess cancer deaths in the United States from the shots. It appears the mass mRNA injection programs were one of the largest carcinogenic exposures in history.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, breast cancer is up 54%. Colon cancer is up 35%. Prostate cancer is up 69%. Bladder cancer, 62%. Stomach cancer, 34%. Lung cancer, 53%. And thyroid cancer is up 35%. They knew, folks, this is not an accident. They knew exactly what they were doing, and it goes right along with their globalist plans that were literally etched in stone in the Georgia Guidestones. The first tenet, and it was in 8 different languages on the Georgia Guidestones, and it said, and I quote, maintain humanity at no more than 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature. Yeah. So if we have 8.3 billion people on this planet, that means 7.8 billion have to vacate the premises. How do you suppose that they're going to do that? The answer? In every way they can think of. Now, it's not just the hokey pokey thingy dingy. It's not just the crap that they're throwing in our water. It's also the stuff that they're spraying above. Yeah, the contrail situation. Barium, aluminum, nanotechnology, smart dust. All of that stuff is part of their globalist plan to lower the world population. And, that was memorialized also in a song I did 20 years ago, all about the contrails. Here it is. Yeah, there's no joy in I told you so for either party. I'm sorry, folks, but that's the way it is.
Another day, a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. The trail they leave is cloudy white. They do the same in the dead of night. A sticky, filmy, web-like strand is sometimes left behind. It gently falls on unsuspecting people till they find. It falls upon the farmers' fields. It lights upon their skin. Aluminum and silicon nanomicrobes soon get in. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. They're not alive. They're not machine. They're nothing like this world has ever seen. they replicate. You don't know they're there till your skin erupts with an oily hair. And those with blatant symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. Symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. As time goes by, your body aches. You break a sweat, and you get the shakes. The doctors say it's the way you feel. It's in your head. No, it isn't real. And those not understanding slowly turn the other way, dismissing those who suffer and ignoring what they say. Will continue not to care until they look upon their arm and find an oily hair. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. Yes, it only lasts until the planes fly by.
Yeah, folks, we are under attack from many, many different fronts. Yeah, it's in the air, it's in the water, it's in your food, and now, there are these boxes of wood ticks that are being shown up on farmers' fields. They don't know where they came from, but boxes full of wood ticks are showing up around the country. And these wood ticks, when you get bitten by them, oh gosh, how do I say this? You become allergic to red meat. Maybe that's part of the plan. Isn't it funny that Bill Gates has been investing in all of the lab-grown meats? Yeah, he wants to sell you lab-grown meats. And at the same time, he's putting out, they're saying that, these wood ticks were engineered someplace and put into the general population. So when you get bitten, you can't eat the real stuff anymore. You have to go and buy the lab stuff. Yeah, there's a conspiracy. No, it's not a conspiracy. No, Dave, they'd never do that. No, they wouldn't. No, there's no plan to lower the world population. That's crazy. That's a conspiracy theory. Well, not according to Christine Anderson. Listen to this.
This vaccine campaign, it will go down as the biggest scandal in medical history, and moreover, it will be known as the biggest crime ever committed on humanity.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's right. She's absolutely right. And when does it stop? I'll tell you. It stops when we, the people, rediscover our testicular fortitude and stand up and say not no, but hell no. Now, if that means we have to grab the pitchforks and torches and storm the castle, well, then so be it. But then again, anyone who decides that they want to organize such an event, of course, they would be hunted down and taken to some FEMA camp or something like that. I mean, that's where we're at, folks. And unless we do something about this, you know, we've got to, I don't know. We're either just going to have to, sit down and kiss our butts goodbye or realize that it's up to us to do something about it. As a matter of fact, Neil Oliver was interviewing Senator Ron Johnson, and Ron Johnson had this to say.
There are basically three groups of individuals in the world today. There's the largest group, by far the largest, that just want to forget COVID. They just want to move on, whether they either harmed or whether they caused harm. If they caused harm, they just want to be forgiven. Tough to make those decisions back then, and they just want to forget all this. Then there's a group, I would say you're in that group, I'm in that group. Our eyes were opened during COVID. And then, of course, the third group are the COVID cartel, the people that imposed all this on us. And again, they have the power. They've controlled the narrative. They call the truth misinformation and disinformation and malinformation. So that's what we've got going on right now. The goal of the second group, those of us with our eyes opened, the good news is once our eyes are opened, you can't close them.
Right.
And so you become dedicated to doing what we need to do, which is open up more people's eyes. So I agree with you. More people are aware, but we have a long way to go because so many people are just in this enormous state of denial. They deny vaccine injuries because they took the vaccine, that they don't want to think there's maybe a ticking time bomb in their body. That the people that push the vaccines, they don't want to admit that maybe they pushed a vaccine that might have killed somebody or did them irreparable harm.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for just a second because if you recall, it was Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens who said it's always easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled. Ego and pride will be the destruction of humanity unless these people realize what's happened to them and that they actually participated in their own demise.
So again, we've got an enormous challenge dealing with this global state of denial.
Yeah, it's a global state of denial. Absolutely it is. Wow. Wowie wow. So what do we do? What is the next step that we have to take? Well, the first thing is we have to get educated. I mean, the good book says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So why is there a lack of knowledge? Well, we can blame the mainstream media for that because they're just not telling you, okay? Now, the other side of that coin is that the information is out there if people are willing to look for it. As they say, the truth is never easy to find. So how easy is it for you to sit on your couch and use your remote and click through ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, OAN, Lindell TV, One America News? That's real easy. So if it's that easy, and the truth is never easy to find, how much truth could there be? You have to look for it. You have to work for it. But there are a lot of people that just don't want to know. And again, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, not because the knowledge is not presented, but a lot of people have got their ears plugged, their eyes covered, and they're going, la, 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 because they don't want to know. Leave me alone. Leave me in my bubble. I just want to live my life. Well, very good. How's your life going? Are you happy? Our joy is being taken from us. Our hopes and dreams as Americans, living the American dream. Well, the American dream has become a nightmare, as Stephen Voss memorialized in his song all those years ago. I wonder what happened to Stephen Voss. Anyway, but he was right. The American dream has turned into a nightmare. Why? Because we got fat, dumb, and lazy. That's why. I hate to throw the truth out there. Nobody likes to hear the truth, you know. The truth hurts, you know. It's a bitter pill. But unfortunately, nothing's going to get solved unless we rediscover our courage and have the balls to be able to stare the beast right in his, get right in the beast's face, stare him in the eyes. That's the only way it's going to happen. But sadly, most Americans, like I said, they got their eyes closed, their ears plugged, and la, 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 la. Yeah, the NBA playoffs are coming up. NHL, Netflix, video games, yeah. This is why the country is in the sad state that it is because, and you can't really blame Americans. We weren't taught to pay attention. In fact, the Department of Indoctrination has done a great job of dumbing the American people down. Yeah, we've seen those interviews where people go up, you know, where somebody interviews, you know, a man on the street type of thing, say, hey, how many stars are on the United States flag? I don't know. Isn't it funny I'm so stupid? What countries border the United States? I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, it's real funny. Yeah, like a crutch. Anyway, I don't mean to be such a Debbie Downer today, but I mean, I'm just watching this whole thing go around, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it why Americans they just don't want to know. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and sometimes it's the people themselves that turn their back on the knowledge, and that's where we're at today. You know, it's not like a lot of us, you know, I'm not the only one who's been screaming from the rooftops and banging the drum and sounding the alarms all these years. But most people just don't want to know. The truth hurts. It's painful. I don't want to know that. No, leave me alone. I don't want to know. Well, more and more people are finding out that, yes, the October 7th issue, yes, it was a false flag. Yes, we've had the wool pulled over our eyes. Anyway, oh, gosh, look at the time. This hour goes by so quickly. Anyway, okay, well, that said, let me see. I don't have time for that clip either. Golly gosh. Well, let me see here. Oh, I got time for this one. Listen to this. No, I don't have time for that one. Oh, gosh.
Israeli Channel 10 reported in March of...
No, I'm not going to play that. There's no time for it. All right, well, yeah, another edition of the WTF Reports comes to a close. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. And if you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube or Facebook, please remember to click like, share, subscribe, and above all else, spread the word. Word of mouth is the best advertising. And if you enjoy the broadcast, I would ask you if you'd like to make a donation on the GoFundMe button that we've got at our website. We sure could use it because we got to expand the listenership, and it all costs money. And if not, well, do some business with our advertisers. Pick up a Wave Watch or get more tank or something like that. Anyway, that said, it's going to wrap it up. I'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the WTF Reports. And until then, stay safe, stay free. God bless you all. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow.
Anymore.